that one day conceals our life and keeps us in your prayer, so he continues to write your love down. No child should be in prison alone like Sakina. No child should be in prison alone like Sakina. So
Muhammad wa ali Muhammad sallallahu Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum, ladies and gentlemen. Our website DareButool.org is live and you will find all our programs on it. We also have launched our mobile apps. So on the Apple Store, on the Google Play Store, if you search for DareButool, you should be able to find our app. And on that app, you will find the details of all the programs. So make sure you subscribe. Plus, our email list is going out soon. We will also have, what do you call it, an SMS list, I would put it that way, and a WhatsApp group that we're starting. So make sure you subscribe, enter your phone number so you'll get all the details of what's happening. Inshallah, starting from October 3rd till the 7th, we'll have Maulana Rujul Hassan Nisam Sahab reciting here in Urdu. Right after that, the following weekend, we have Maulana Sayyid Muhammad Naqvi. We'll be reciting in English as well, and then reciting some Masaib in Urdu. After that, we have Shaykh Nabil Awan in English for 3 days, followed by 10 days Chelum of Maulana Muhammad Naqvi, then Qibla Ijaz Ghadiri for 5 days in Urdu, and then in the end we have for 4 days Shaykh Hussain Nashid who will be speaking about topics around bullying, cyberbullying, and things like that. And we'll end all our programs, Muharram programs, with Qibla Asad Yawar for 5 days in Urdu. For Muhammad wa ali Muhammad sallallahu
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Wajjal.
برای خوشنودی مولانا صاحب الاسر و زمان نعره صلوات اللهم صل علی محمد و آل محمد.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين بارئ الخلائق أجمعين، والصلاة والسلام على خير خلقه سيدنا ونبينا ومولانا أبي القاسم محمد. والصلاة والسلام على أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين، ولعنة الله على أعدائهم من الآن إلى قيام يوم الدين، ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. وأما بعد، فقد قال الله سبحانه وتعالى في كتابه المتين: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. لقد كان لكم في رسول الله أسوة حسنة لمن كان يرجو الله واليوم الآخر وذكر الله كثيرا. صدق الله العلي العظيم. صلوات Brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Condolences to each and every one of you, mu'mineen and mu'minat worldwide. This evening that we continue to remember the revolution of Imam Hussein alayhi salatu wasalam, the sacrifices of Imam Hussein, his family members and his companions. Everything we have today is from the revolution of Imam Hussein. And there's nothing that we have in our lives, physically or spiritually, that we can't trace back to this revolution. And if it wasn't for this revolution, we would have ended up like the people around us. And these people are good people. A lot of times we as Muslims, we look down on the non-Muslim, right? We're like, psh, kafirs. These kafirs, man, they're najis, they don't know how to make themselves tahir, they don't know how to go to the bay, they don't know nothing. And we look at them like, psh. The vast majority of them are good people. But they never had a Hussein. Gonna save their religion. Huh? Who would stand up? Who put their life on the line or their family's life on the line for the message of Hazrat Isa? And to save it from being corrupted. Alhamdulillah, we have Hussein, we have Ahlul Bayt. Alayhim as-salam ajma'in. Everything we have is from Karbala. Last night we started talking about Yas. To become ma'ayus min rahmatullah. To be hopeless from the mercy of Allah. And we're using this topic as an introduction to get into the discussion that we really want to have over tonight and tomorrow night and inshallah Sunday night too, I think, right? I'm not sure. If I'm here, you might as well put me to work. So if you don't have it planned for Sunday night we're on. We have to talk about serious things. Last night we started introducing with a very serious topic. Hopelessness, to be ma'ayus from the mercy of Allah. A lot of us suffer with that. We've committed sins, we've made mistakes, we've fallen short, and if we live long enough, we will see the effects of our mistakes in our children. And from this can make us say we've gone too far. We've committed these sins, we've done these things, whatever. Allah, He's angry with me. Allah is mad with me. Allah doesn't love me anymore. I've gone too far, I can't get the mercy of Allah. And so we wanted to talk about this. And we said last night, yes, to be hopeless from Allah is the greatest sin. Right? And you always hear shirk. Idolatry is the greatest sin. It is one of the great sins. It may be the greatest sin, but you know what? There's a way out of shirk. You can say, no, I don't believe in these stones or these wood idols anymore. I'm not going to be but parast anymore. I'm going to worship one God, right? And then you're done with shirk. But if you're hopeless from the mercy of Allah, where do you go from there? If you don't even believe that Allah loves you, more than a mother loves her child. Let me tell you something about mama love, right? So sometimes we don't address the ladies' side because it's okay. I just play with it because I ain't got nothing to do. I mess with it because I ain't got nothing to do, brother. I'm ADD, HDD, TV. What do they call it? Salawat. Yeah, if they had this ADD, HD TV back when I was a kid, they'd have put me on pills too. They tried to give my son pills, right? It's a true story. They tried to give my son pills for the ADD, HD TV, and I said, nah. I said, nah. So they gave the prescription, and my wife, she's a nurse, so she believes in this stuff, right? So I'm like, nah, man. I said, look, I'm gonna show you, this is not for him. So I take one of the pills, I break it in half, and I took half the pill. Half the pill. Bande Khuda, I was up all night, can't sleep. But you gotta clean the house, do something like sweep, wash, wipe down, take care of it. I said, that's why we're not gonna give it, because I only took a half a pill, and it had me gone. Imagine we give Bande Khuda the whole pill. So, don't worry about the microphone, it's okay. Salam alaikum. So we started talking about Yas, and one of the biggest sins, if not the biggest sin, is to be hopeless in the mercy of Allah. That Allah doesn't love us, doesn't care for us, that Allah doesn't have mercy on us, that we've gone too far or done too much or our sins are too great. There's a hadith al-Qudsi where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, "Oh Bani Adam, If I created you and you did not make mistakes and then make tawbah for them, I would destroy you. And I would put in your place a creation that would. It's part of, there's some sins that we'd like to just stop, right? Like completely in the society. We want to get rid of sin. But let's be honest and let's be straightforward. For as long as you have human beings, you're going to have sin. You're going to have sin. We're going to make mistakes. We're going to fall short. And the idea here is that when we commit sins and mistakes, that we should feel remorse and regret about that, but also hope in the mercy of Allah. Remind ourselves that Allah loves us and cares for us and is tawab. You know tawab, what it means? He always accepts your tawbah. If your tawbah is real, like not the fake tawbah, because a lot of us, we do the alaki tawbah, right? Oh, Allah, I'm not going to do it anymore. And He knows, and you know, you're going to do it again, maybe in 10 minutes. Not that tawbah, the real tawbah, when we feel sad in our heart and we say, Ya Allah, forgive me. Allah says He'll erase the sins to such an extent that the angels that recorded them will forget them. Yani it's gone from the book that they wrote it in, and it's gone from their memory. Yani Allah takes it from your memory, from their memory, it's gone. You're forgiven. Allah loves us. So last night's discussion was to talk about this level of yas from the mercy of Allah, which is a great sin. And each and every one of us, what we said was the cure for this, because we mentioned the cure last night. There's a cure for it. The cure for that, we mentioned it, that you can learn it, this formula from dua. Now usually, we encourage people to read duas that they have in the books, Mafatihul Jinan, Sahifatul Sajjadiyah. Don't forget to make your own duas. Speaking from your own heart is very powerful dua too, in your own language. Don't think like you can only communicate with Allah in Arabic. Like Halif Nemishe, Bi Sawad. He doesn't understand any language but Arabic. Nah. You make your dua in Urdu, it's heard and accepted. And really, let's be honest, from the heart, it might be more effective than Arabic. English, Farsi, whatever your language is, right? But there's a technique in dua, there's a formula to dua that we learn from the duas of Sahifatul Sajjadiyah, from Mafatihul Jinan, that we learn from these duas, that in addition to being the formula for a correct dua, to make sure that the dua is mustajab and accepted and received, this is also the formula for hope in the mercy of Allah. And this formula, it's easy formula. You look at any dua. Dua always starts with hamd and thana. The thanks and the praising and the glorification of Allah. Any dua you read, that's where it starts. Dua starts, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, Alhamdulillah. That's how every dua, some form of this, some form of glorification of Allah, Subhanallah. Some sort of glorification of Allah will come in the beginning of the dua, right? After that, in any dua, then comes thankfulness, gratefulness, right? So this is how every dua progresses. It starts with glorification of Allah, then moves to thanking Allah for all of the things that He's done for us already. Thank you, Allah, for my life. Thank you, Allah, for my creation. Thank you, Allah, for my health. Thank you, Allah, for this and for that. The thanks, the gratitude is there, right? Then after this portion of the dua, now you ask for what you want. After you've thanked Allah for what you have, now the door is open to ask for what you want. And this is where we can build hope with Allah again too. Remind ourselves, what does it mean to be grateful? To be thankful to Allah. It means that we're reminding ourselves and recounting to ourselves on a daily basis maybe on an hourly basis, everything that Allah's done for us. I mean, really, sometimes we have to think about it. Allah brought us from nowhere. We're all nobodies from nowhere. Allah made us, created us from nothing. Realize how fortunate we are. You read in the Quran that Allah created the whole universe in an instant by saying, kun fayakun. Once this command was given, everything was created. It's not like things were created like Lego world, piece by piece by piece. Everything was envisioned, conceptualized, created in an instant. But the material world is too weak to receive the command of Allah directly like that. So before you can be born, your parent born. Your parents had to be born. And then you could be born. And this is the way the world works. But when Allah said, kun fayakun, me and you were created then. At that instant, Allah loved us and conceived of us and brought us into being. But our physical being did not gain tahaqquk, did not gain reality, because first our grandparents had to be born and their parents and tartib, and then we come. Allah has loved us from the beginning. So part of regaining that hope in Allah and that love for Allah is to remind ourselves daily of the many blessings that He's given us in every phase of our life. We had parents who loved us. We had teachers who cared for us and taught us. And some of them were strict, but it was because of love. I had a teacher, Miss Devlin. Ooh, what a devil. But she loved us. All these barakat we've had, when we remind ourselves of these things, it builds hope. Someone asked Amir al-Mu'mineen, Imam Ali alayhi salatu wasalam. I said, Ali, where do you get your hope for the future? And Imam Ali said, from every place in my past where Allah has blessed me. This is where you get, if Allah blessed you yesterday, look, don't worry. Tomorrow He's going to bless you too. And this is where hope comes from. So I think that we've touched on this subject of yas, especially in relation to being ma'ayus, becoming hopeless from the mercy of Allah. And inshallah, none of us are afflicted with that, but each and every one of us are still hopeless. We're still hopeless. Let me tell you a joke so we can lighten the mood a little, so you can understand where I'm going with the rest of this, right? So this guy dies and he goes to hell. And in hell, everybody's separated group by group by group, right? So he goes to, I don't know, he goes to like the Jewish part of hell, right? And all the Jews are in hell and everybody's burning and roasting there, and there's angels, right? That every time one Jew crawls out of the hell, right? Then those angels are there to hit him with a staff and knock him back down into the fire. And this guy's like, oh, Lord, look at that. So they take him to the Christian portion of the hell, and same thing. These guys, they're burning and they're roasting in hell. They're suffering, they're screaming, they're trying to climb out. And every time they get to the top and they get almost out, there's an angel there, and the angel knocks them back down into hell. They take him to the Hindu portion of hell, and it's the same thing, just with more angels. Every time one of them gets to the top, those angels are there to bow, hit him back down into hell. So he takes them to the Muslim section, and they're there suffering and roasting, right? And there's no angels guarding the hell. There's no, everybody else had angels guarding the hell. Here, there's no angels guarding the hell. What's going on? He asks from one of the angels, he says, look, in these other sections, you had angels guarding the hellfire. That when they came to get out, then the angel was there to knock them back in. How come here, in the Muslim side of the hell, you don't have any angels guarding? He said here, the angel said here, we don't have to worry about that. Every time one of them gets to the top to get out, the rest of them pull him down. We're suffering from hopelessness. And sometimes we say we're not suffering from hopelessness in Allah. No, not me. I'm not hopeless from the mercy of Allah. But you know what we're suffering from? We're hopeless in ourselves. And if we want to talk about one of the biggest obstacles to growth in the dunya, or one of the biggest obstacles to spiritual growth and to akhirat, then maybe just as dangerous as yas, hopelessness in the mercy of Allah, is hopelessness in ourselves. And it's something that we as a people, we suffer from. You go and you ask anybody. So we can divide it into dunyavi life, physical life, and we can talk about spiritual life with yas, right? Let's start with the dunyavi side, just because it's a lot easier. Let me show you how hopeless we are when it comes to dunya. You got a business idea. You want to, I don't know, startups are big in the West Coast, right? So you want to do a startup, you want to do something, right? And you go and you mention it in the masjid, and one of the brothers says, it'll never work. You're going to have to do this, and you're going to have to pay that, and it'll never happen because it's international, and you'll have to deal with the customs and the border patrol and immediately somebody's going to come and put up all kind of obstacles and barriers as to why your idea won't work. You can't tell me you never came across that. That's not going to work. It's not going to happen. It's too expensive. You're not thinking clearly. That'll never happen. These brothers will never do it. I remember one time, right, our masjid, when we used to have a center in Tampa, we had a little property and it was right next to the highway. And right down the road, there was a place with a billboard for the highway, because the highway's right there, right? And they had it on private property, a billboard. And you know, them people who own the billboard, they gotta pay to put that billboard on private property. So I told the brothers at the masjid, man, look, we got this big property. It's right next door to the I-4. Now, because of fitna in town, this center's closed and crackheads sleep in it now, right? But 4 years ago, it was open. We said, look, here's how we're gonna pay the bills in the center. We're gonna put up a billboard on our property, and we can rent it to the people. Immediately, brothers come and say, it'll never work. Everybody's gonna wanna advertise alcohol. Okay, so we don't take that contract. It'll never work because the highway division won't let you do it. Why won't the highway division let us do it when one block down the road, they're doing it? It'll cost too much money. It'll cost too much money, brother. You're making obstacles before we even get there. You're hopeless, and you want me to be hopeless too. This is a huge barrier to us. We've become hopeless people. And we wonder why people aren't becoming Muslim, like, our religion is the best, and it's the most aqli and the most easy to understand, and it has the best answers, so how come they're not becoming Muslim? Because you know why? When they come, man, they see us as some hopeless people. There's no hope for us. So I'm not trying to be criticizing, right? But let's look at our level of hope in ourselves. Human capacity, our own capacity, our own potential, what we are capable of, we are completely unaware of it. We don't even know what we're capable of, man, what we can do. And you know why we don't? Because we've never done anything. It's a big issue. And whenever we thought about doing something great or had an idea to do something important, right, we doubted in ourselves. And the people around us didn't help either, because they were hopeless. That taste of hopelessness that we have was increased. This is how human beings are. Human beings, if we're in a crowd, like we're in a crowd right now, if some loud noise like a gunshot happens out here, right, what's the first thing we're gonna do? A lot of people are gonna say, I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna run. No, you're not. You know the first thing you're gonna do? You're gonna look around at the people around you. When you look around at the people around you, if you see fear, you're gonna get afraid. And you're gonna get afraid real quick, because fear is contagious. So you hear some loud noise, before you even have the time to get scared, you're gonna look around you. And when the people around you are scared, you're gonna get scared. That's why it's important for parents, adults in the community, when something happens, be brave, be like, don't be, because these kids will catch fear that way. It's the same thing with hopelessness. If you're always around a bunch of hopeless people that have really no belief in themselves, in their own capability, in their own capacity, it's gonna have an effect on us when we're around those people. Where does this type of hopelessness come from? Where do we learn to be hopeless in self? And with respect to the mothers and fathers here, the first place we learn it at is at home. It's at home. Your child has some idea, your young adult has some plan. They come by and they say, Baba, Mama, I'm gonna do this, and then you come and you say, no, it won't work. You can't do that. You've never done that before. How will it happen? What will you do? And our own hopelessness, our own lack of confidence is now transferred to them. And it's a big disease that we can spread amongst ourselves. So now what happens when the children become hopeless? When the human beings become hopeless, we become satisfied with hadda aqal, with the least amount. And this is dangerous. A lot of times when we talk about Islam, we're talking about Islam hadda aqali, the bare minimum of Islam. Because it's what we practice. It's a hopeless religion. I'm gonna be honest with you. It really is. If you're practicing Islam hadda aqali, right? The Islam of the bare minimum. It's a hopeless deal. It really is. And you can see that we're practicing that religion, right? Because I'm not talking specifically about this and all around the country, right? All around the country it's this way. When someone wants to give something to the masjid, what do they give? It happens all over. They get a new fridge in their house. So the old fridge, they send it down the masjid. We got a new fridge for the masjid. It ain't no new fridge. You and your family done been through it for the last 3, 4, 5 years, and now it don't work quite right. You want to donate it to the masjid. It don't make ice no more, so you donate it to the masjid. Or we got a car that don't run too right anymore and it's too expensive to fix, so that's the car we're gonna give to the Muslim brother. Brother, I got a car for you. Bismillah, fi sabilillah. All you gave him was frequent trips to the mechanic shop. And I'm happy for it, that's how I make my money. Please, sell them the broken cars, I'll fix it. This is Dina Hadda Agali, where we put the least amount into the religion. When we go to the mosque, we give the least amount of money, like we're going to church. When you go to church, I used to take the money out the envelope that my grandmother sent me, and take the money, put the empty envelope in the collection pan. Every week she used to send her $5. Every week she sent her $5. Now, every week if a Christian sends $5 to the church, it works because, there's like 300 of them in there. 300 of them gives $5, and there's 2 services on Sunday. Cha-ching! In the mosque, it doesn't work though. Dina Hadda Aqali can't work at the mosque because there's only 30 of us. And if everybody brings $5 and puts it in the sadaqah pan, we can afford coffee and cigarettes now. That's what it does. It can't pay the light bill. It can't pay the AC bill. Our $150, you know what it's good for? So go to Walmart, get some Red Bulls and some coffee and some cigarettes, and it's done. $150 gone. We practice Deen al-Aqali, the religion of the bare minimum, because we're hopeless. We started the khutbah with this verse of Quran where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, surely for you in the Prophet of Allah is the best example. Uswatun hasana. He's the best example. And just to show you now, we can change it a little bit from being dunyavi hopeless to now akhirati hopeless. Prophet is the uswatun hasana. He's the best example for you, right? So now you come and you tell people, we've been in this deen now 30 years, how come we're not more like Prophet? And we'll say, oh, Prophet is there. We're down here. This is hopelessness. A lot of people are going to say, oh no, your Prophet is up there and we're down here. How's he going to be uswatun hasana and you can't be like him? I'm not saying you can be ma'soom. I'm not saying that you can receive wahi. I'm not saying that you'll be able to do mu'jizat. But he's uswatun hasana, the best example. Allah's not going to give you an example that you cannot be like, that you cannot emulate, that you cannot pattern your life after and be successful and take on those attributes that he had and those behaviors that he has and those akhlaq that he has. Allah gave you that example. He said he's uswatun hasana. And then when you tell people, well look, we've been praying for 30, 40, 50 years, how come we're not more like him? They say, oh, he's there, I'm down here. Okay, so maybe Prophet is up there and we're just down here. What about Amir al-Mu'mineen? We say, no, Amir al-Mu'mineen, Amir al-Mu'mineen, alayhi salatu wasalam, he's up there, I'm down here. So then you say, okay. Ayatollah Bahjat. Prophet won't work, right? Imam won't work because they're up there, right? And we're down here, right? Okay, Ayatollah Bahjat. You say, no, Allah Bahjat. Great Arif. He's an Ayatollah. He's up there. I'm down here. Okay. Khair. Okay. Rajab Ali Khayyat. This is an ordinary man. A tailor. That was his trade. He was a tailor. One of the biggest urafa and mystics of our time. And he wasn't a prophet or an imam. He wasn't an ayatollah. He wasn't a marj taqlid. He was a tailor. And that too, his shop was in his house. We say, no, Rajab Ali Khayyat is up there. We're hopeless. We don't know what our capacity is. We don't understand what our capabilities are. Not just physically, but spiritually also. We've become hopeless, not just in our dunya, but in our akhirat too. We don't see us doing great things. And this is why we're in the condition that we're in now. I mean, if we want to talk about politics, me and a brother were talking about it, I want to say today or yesterday we were talking. There's 7 million Jews in the country, and I know it's being recorded. We're not anti-Semites. We're just using them as an example. Okay, it was just a joke the last time we mentioned them, okay? Don't take it serious. There's 7 million Jews in the country, in America, right now. Kamabish. And they have AIPAC. The American-Israeli Political Action Committee. And if you're going to be the president of the United States, you got to go sit down with AIPAC. Or you're not going to be the president of the United States. Let me ask you a question, because you Muslims, you love kids. Okay? So the government says there's 10 million, there's more. There's more Muslims in the country than there is Jews, but there's no impact. Where's the Muslim Political Action Committee? How come they don't got to sit down and come talk to us when they want to run for political office? Huh? You know why? Because we're hopeless. We don't think we can do it. So let's make something straight then when we're talking about being hopeless in ourselves. Understand something. Shaitan's job, his day and night work, is to tell you you can't. Yes. That's what his job is to do. And he can't do anything else. You guys are lucky you're from Pakistan and India and other countries, look, walk a mile in my shoes. We just opened a center in Tampa about 8 months ago, right? And when any American opens a center, man, look, the crazies come out of the woodwork. We've had 4 or 5 people come through the center in the last month that random cylinder misfire. Okay? Our people, the first people that come to Islam are the oppressed people and the sick people. These are the first people that come. These are the first ones that come. What's the major issue with each and every one of these people is that they are hopeless. They don't think they can do anything. They've given up. I can't get better. I can't get a job. I can't do this. I can't do that. One brother came to me and said, Shaitan has taken over my body and shakes me off the prayer mat. I said, wait a minute, what you're talking about with Shaitan, he doesn't have this power. Understand something, huh? Shaitan has no power over you. People think, I don't know where we get it. It's because we hang out with Christians entirely too much. I don't know what the problem is. We have this idea of a powerful Shaitan. A Shaitan that can do stuff. Like this guy says, Shaitan takes over his body and shakes him off the prayer mat. It's impossible. It's not, Shaitan doesn't have that power. The only power that Shaitan has is to whisper in your ear. The power of suggestion. He can't force your hand to do anything. And his day and night job, day and night what he does, when me and you are sleeping, he's at work, is to tell us we can't do it. Anything. And sometimes that's all he has to do. He doesn't have to make you make a sin. He doesn't have to discourage you from doing qadr khair. All he has to tell you is, look, these plans that you have, these things that you want, deep inside of you, there's things that you want, that you need, more than money, more than family, more than, what we need is peace and tranquility in our lives. There's things that we want spiritually in our lives. And the reason we're not getting them is simply because we think we can't do it. Everybody come forward. Everybody come forward. We're running out of room in the back, I guess. Salawat. Ya Ali. In our spiritual lives, in our physical lives, the only thing holding us back is us. That's it. Shaitan, I've said it before and I don't want to offend anybody, he's broke. Shaitan is broke. He don't got nothing. He can't do anything. And most of his work is just to say you can't. I can't is not the slogan of the believer. The slogan of the believer is I can, not I can't. When the believer sets his mind to something, then he can achieve that thing. And what's holding us back now from achieving the things in deen and in dunya that we desire and that we want and that we yearn for is hopelessness. We don't have any hope in ourselves anymore. So last night, if we talked about yas and being hopeless from the mercy of Allah, and that's such a great sin and a horrible sin because it leads to a dead end, a place where there's no coming back from. We have to remind ourselves that Allah loves us. Tonight, just as dangerous in our spiritual lives and in our physical lives, just as dangerous as yas from the mercy of Allah is yas and hopelessness in ourselves. It's destructive to us. Let's give a little clue to tomorrow night's discussion then, and then we'll finish up for this evening. You know what Allah wants from us? Ambition. And I know that a lot of times we don't think of mu'min in this way. Whenever you say mu'min, right, I tell you, oh, this brother's very mu'min. You know what you understand when I say that? He's a little soft. He might be a little backwards. He could be illiterate. He's probably broke. When we say he's mu'min, that means he's probably broke. When you say he's mu'min, that means he drives a rusty car. Right? Whenever we think of mu'min, right? We think of mu'min like somebody badbacht and bichare. He's mu'min. That means he's badbacht. If he's mu'min, he's bichare, right? Isn't that the idea we have of mu'min? That's not what Allah says about mu'minin. Prophet, he said, al-mu'minu qayyis. The mu'min is clever. The mu'min is smart. Mu'min is somebody who has hope. Mu'min is somebody who has ambition. And a lot of times we think like ambition is something bad. Allah demands that we have ambition. Yani not just in dunya, because usually when we say dunya, then when we say ambition, people think dunya, like, oh, he's got ambition. That means he's gonna make money and he's gonna have a big house and he's gonna have a nice car. That's all ambition is? That's the end of your ambition? So, Baba, what happens when you get the big car and the nice house and the beautiful wife? Then what? Your ambition gone and that's it? You don't want nothing else in life? I got it. I made it. I have jacuzzi now. Better set a jacuzzi. You live your whole life to reach where? In a big house with a jacuzzi? And most of the time we say, oh, she's beautiful, or hey, he's handsome. And you know what? You don't look that good. You sold out your ambition for Dina Hadda Agali. The things that you could have had, the things that you should have had, the things that you should have done, the things that you could have done, you passed them off out of hopelessness and settled for Hadda Agal, the bare minimum. When we say ambition, it's not just about dunya. There's things that we want spiritually too, isn't it? I know I do. There's things that I want spiritually. What's holding me back from that? Hopelessness. Acceptance of Hadda Agal, the bare minimum. What does Allah want from us? Ambition. Himmat al-Bulan. Any great ambitions. We want to do great things, big things, and not be satisfied with the little things and the bare minimum of life. Mu'min is supposed to live. Imam Ali said, alayhi salatu wassalam, that the mu'mineen take more lizzat from the dunya than the mutrifeen. Understand it? Huh? Who's mutrifeen? Mutrifeen are those people who spend their money in ya'ish. Yani they spend their money, they make money, and they spend their money so they can enjoy it. Yani what? They get on the yachts, they go to the casino, they take a trip to Vegas, they go to Tahoe to go swimming and skiing, and they do all this mutrifin. They spend their money to live and to enjoy. Amir al-Mu'mineen says the mu'min takes more lizzat. You know lizzat? Lizzat means pleasure. He gets more pleasure out of the dunya than the mutrifin. Them who's spending their money to enjoy. So how come me and you don't get that enjoyment, right? Me and you looking at the mutrifin, and we look at the mutrifin and we say, oh, they living. I wish I had a yacht. I wish I could go to Vegas. That's an idea we have, right? I want to do what they're doing. Because we think that they're getting they're getting more pleasure than us. If we would just stop being hopeless and stop settling for Dina Hadda Agali, the bare minimum, we would get more lizzat, more enjoyment in this life than mutrifin. The thing that holds us back is hopelessness. How do we escape this hopelessness in ourselves then? And this is It's more difficult than escaping the hopelessness in Allah. Huh? Because a lot of times, like we said, this hopelessness, we've been learning it from the time we were little kids in our homes. And our teachers reinforced it. And so it's hard work to believe in oneself again. We'll talk more about that tomorrow night, inshallah. This evening, I want to remind you of Hazrat Zainab, salamullah alayha. When we talk about hopelessness, it's something that doesn't exist at Karbala. I mean, these kids come here, and what they get used to seeing is us crying. And it's very easy for the young people to interpret this crying and this mourning as defeat. Because when do people cry? Why do people cry? When they lose, isn't it? Huh? I want to redefine Karbala for you. Karbala is not defeat. And when we gather here to cry and to mourn, it's because we wish we were there. When we're mourning and we're crying for Hazrat Imam Hussein, Hazrat Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas, Ali Akbar, Hazrat Zainab al-Kubra, we're crying because we wish we were there. We wish that we could be confronted with a test like this, to stand by the side of Imam Hussein unto death if necessary. Our crying isn't the crying of a people who've been defeated, but rather it's the crying of a people who have been victorious and refuse to forget the way in which we became victorious. We learned this from Hazrat Zainab al-Kubra. I want you to understand something. A lot of times when we talk about Hazrat Zainab salamullah alayha after Karbala, we talk about how weak she became. We talk about how ill she became. Let me show you something about Zainab. You know, in the lead up to Yom Ashura, Zainab was not sick. But she had not accepted that this place was Karbala yet. Not until the afternoon of the 9th day of Muharram did it start to sink in with Zainab. Did Zainab start to realize that this is Karbala? This is the land of Karb and Bala, of affliction and calamity. Up until the afternoon of the 9th of Muharram, Zainab is just Imam Hussein's loving sister. This is what she is. But when she realizes that this is Karbala, now Zainab transforms. Zainab becomes like a Sardar. Zainab becomes like an officer. Zainab becomes a leader in this caravan. Zainab begins to take over this caravan. Zainab changes from Imam Hussein's loving little sister to a lioness in her own right. And all in the journey from Karbala to Kufa, and then from Kufa to Sham, there was no illness and no sickness in Zainab. Zainab was strong and healthy all the way from Karbala to Kufa, and then from Kufa to Sham, and then from Sham back to Medina. Do you know when Hazrat Zainab began to get sick? Is when the whole affair was over now. When the killing stopped, when the imprisonment stopped, when the beatings stopped, when the being driven day and night on the back of a camel stopped, and the children were finally able to lay down and take a rest under their own roofs and in their own beds for the first time in months. Now Zainab starts to get sick. Now that there's no place for Zainab anymore, and there's no need for Zainab anymore, she brings the back to Medina, and the people of Medina came. Okay, you know, her mother suffered in the same way. After her house is burned, after the door is kicked in, after she loses beloved Mohsen, after a rope is tied around the neck of Ali and Ali is dragged away, then the people come and they tell Ali, Ali, your wife is crying too loud at night. And she disturbs us with her mourning over her father. Ali, do something to make Fatima be more quiet. This is how Ali comes and goes and makes one little kharabe, one little shack on the outskirts of Medina. Hazrat al can leave the Kuchahaya Medina, can leave the alleyways of Medina and go on the outskirts of town where she won't disturb anyone and no one will complain about her crying, and she goes there on the outskirts of town and that's where she does her mourning. So it's nothing strange that after Zainab delivers this caravan back to Medina, and now Zainab is wandering the streets of Medina, in every doorway she sees Hussein. You know, the effects of this trauma were so deep that Imam Zain al-Abidin would not walk down the street where the butchers had after Karbala. He could not stand to see the sight of the animal bodies cut up. He couldn't stand to smell the scent of the or to see the carcasses because it reminded him of what he saw at Karbala. Look at Zainab. Zainab, that pillar of strength, never shows any weakness. Realize what Zainab witnessed. You heard about already about the horses that they brought to trample on the body of Imam Hussein. And you might have it in your mind that all they did was run these horses over his body. Wallahi, we wish it was that simple. Understand that the horses they brought were horses that had been specially trained. They were horses of war. And it wasn't that they ran the horses over the body. These horses had been trained to stamp and to trample on the bodies. They need to stay in one place and to stomp their feet down onto the body that is below them. This was how these horses were trained. They were horses of war. Their hooves were trained to be used as weapons. And so when they brought the horses to trample on the body of Imam Hussein, it was these horses that they brought. It was these horses that they came with, that they trampled on the body of Imam Hussein. Do you know how much a horse weighs? When we say that the body of Imam Hussein was trampled on by horses, understand, in Persian they say, lehesh kardan. Yani they flattened the body of Imam Hussein. They flattened his rib cage and broke his sternum. They crushed his back and broke his bones with the hooves of these animals. And then in the aftermath, Zainab comes and sits at the side of her brother's body. And they say that she's sitting there gazing. Ta'ajjub mikad. She's amazed at the sight of the body of her brother. It's been flattened by the trampling of the horses. And they say it took Zainab a long moment before she could reach out her hand and touch the body of Imam Hussein. ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم ولعنة الله على قوم الظالمين آمين رب العالمين.
يا رب الحسين بحق الحسين اشف صدر الحسين بزحور الحجة ابن الحسن المهدي. Rising from the top of sphere as the head of son of Zahra, the reciter of Quran, السيد الشهداء يا أبا عبد الله يا أبا عبد الله. Let's call the beautiful name of Imam Hussein. يا أبا عبد الله يا أبا عبد الله. Oh brother, read Quran. On the spear, look at us. Where is brother Abbas to come and protect us? Oh brother, where were you when they whipped your children? To see the loneliness of Zainab and her pain. Ya Aba Abdullah, Ya Abdullah, Ya Aba Abdullah. When little Sakina is calling her father, when little Sakina was calling her father, why were you so silent and didn't answer her? Oh brother, why don't you hug little Sakina? Her face is bruised just like, her face is bruised just like our mother Fatima, our mother Fatima. Ya Aba Abdullah, Ya Aba Abdullah, Ya Abdullah. Oh brother, I never thought I would see this day. All I can do now is to be patient and pray. Ya Aba Abdullah, Ya Aba Abdullah. On the 18th of Muharram, this caravan is about to leave the city of Kufa to go towards Sham, Sham, Sham. What was the hard trip? He said 3 times, Sham, Asham, Asham. After everything that Sayyida Zainab alayha went through, after after the day of Ashura, قريبان, after the 11th of Muharram, one by one, after they put them on the camels, took them as prisoners, after Zainab approached the city of Kufa, from street to street, beat the team of Abi Abdullah right in front of the king. When Sakina was saying, Ya Amma Zainab, didn't you tell me that Rasulullah used to kiss his teeth? Why is this man beating the teeth of my father? Anywhere in the world, when someone recites Quran, you say Barakallah, you say Ahsant, you say MashaAllah. But when the head of Abi Abdullah recited Quran in the court of Ibn Ziyad, this mal'oon placed his feet on the holy head of Abi Abdullah. After seeing all of these, after all these calamities, now this caravan is about to leave for Sham. They say all the tribes came. They did shafa'at for the women of their tribes. And the women were released. The Qawm of Bani Asad, the Qawm of Kalbi, all the different tribes. The only women who are left are the women of Bani Hashim. They even made shafa'at for the head of their loved ones. The head of Habib, the head of Zuhair, the head of Hor, the head of Burayd. None of them went to Sham. Only the head of Abi Abdullah, only the head of Abul Faz, only the head of Ali Akbar Hussein, the head of Bani Hashim. Yes, it was so hard for Sayyida Zainab to be separated from her brother Imam Hussein. She lived 55 years every day with Imam Hussein. They say for 3 days she was separated from Imam Hussein. She became sick, knowing that Imam Hussein is alive. But one of the hardest moments for Zainab, one of the hardest things for Zainab was the separation of another beloved person. They say when calamities hit you, you go towards the elder of the family, you seek refuge to that person. The eldest of this family was Rasulullah. Whenever they had issues, later when Imam Ali was alive, when Sayyida Fatima was alive, they would go to Rasulullah, they would hug Rasulullah. Rasulullah had a calming effect on them. After Rasulullah, every time they wanted to calm down, they would look at the person who was the closest to Rasulullah. Ashbahun nas bin Nabi خلقا وخلقا. You look at the riwayat, many times that Zainab was sad, many times that Zainab was down. All she had to do is look at the beautiful face of Ali Akbar Hussein. And imagine how hard it was for Zainab to look at the head of Ali Akbar on top of the spear. How hard it was for Zainab to look at the body of Ali Akbar, or better said, what was left from the body of Ali Akbar. In Karbala, 3 bodies were cut into pieces and pieces and pieces. The body of Abi Abdullah, the body of Abul Fazl al-Abbas, the 2 sons of Imam Ali. The 3rd one was named Ali. Ali ibn Hussein ibn Ali. They say that when he introduced himself, he said, I am Ali, the grandson of Ali. These mal'oonin said, Bughzan la'abik, out of the hatred of Ali, we will kill this young guy. They say one day Rasulullah was walking somewhere in the gardens with Imam Ali, and then suddenly Rasulullah hugged Imam Ali and began to cry. And Amir al-Mu'minin asked, why are you crying, Ya Rasulullah? He said, because of the hatred that these people have in their hearts towards you and your children, and what they will do to the children of Ali. And what did they do in Karbala? What did they do to the body of Ali Akbar? فَقَطَّعُوهُ بِالسُّيُوفِ أَرْبًا أَرْبًا. They said that Abi Abdullah, when he got to the body of Ali Akbar, he saw the body of Ali Akbar like that, he fell on his knees. And all the Maqatil, there was only one place that Abi Abdullah cried loudly, and that's when he saw the body of Ali Akbar. And the only thing he could do to calm himself down, وَدَعَ خَدَّهُ عَلَى خَدَّهُ, placing his cheek on the cheek of Ali and saying, Waladi, 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 oh my son, oh my son, oh my son. And how hard it was for Imam Hussein to take this body back. You pick up the chest, the feet fall down. No wonder he had to call the youth of Bani Hashim to come. And then Imam Hussein opened his abba, started picking up pieces and pieces of the body, putting it in the abba, and taking the body of Ali Akbar back. Oh my son, oh Ali Akbar. 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 Ya Hussein, Matam Hussein. Oh my son, oh Ali Akbar. 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 Everyone. Oh my son, oh Ali Akbar. 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 I'm trying to find you, but I have lost my sight. Where are you, oh my son? You're the light of my eyes. I'm looking for you, I'm searching for you. Oh my son, oh Ali Akbar. 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 Your sister's in the tent, just waiting for some news. Your sister's in the tent, just waiting for some news. Her prayers are with you, and tears are in her eyes. I'm looking for you, I'm searching for you. Oh my son, oh Ali Akbar. 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 What did they do to you? You're covered in blood, my son. What did they do to you? You're covered in blood, my son. Who has cut your body into pieces, my son? I'm crying for you, I'm looking at you. Oh my son, oh Ali Akbar. 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 The spear is in your chest, and tears are in my eyes. How can I take it out? How can I see you die? How can I see you die? I've taken out the spear, but you have stopped breathing. Tell me how I can breathe. My heart has stopped beating. I'm crying for you. I'm crying for you. Oh my son, oh Ali Akbar. 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 Ya Hussein, 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 Ya Hussein. Allahumma salli Muhammad salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. السلام عليك يا رسول الله. السلام عليك يا حبيب الله. السلام عليك يا أمير المؤمنين. السلام عليك يا سيد الوصيين. السلام عليك يا فاطمة الزهراء سيدة نساء العالمين. السلام عليك يا حسن المجتبى. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين. السلام عليك يا سيدي ومولاي يا أبا الفضل العباس ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليك يا عقيلة السادات يا زينب بنت أمير المؤمنين ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليك يا علي بن الحسين زين العابدين. السلام عليك يا محمد بن علي باغر علم النبيين. السلام عليك يا جعفر بن محمد الصادق. السلام عليك يا موسى بن جعفر الكاظم. السلام عليك يا غريب الغرباء. السلام عليك يا أبا الحسن يا علي بن موسى الرضا. السلام عليك يا محمد بن علي أيها الجواد التقي. السلام عليك يا علي بن محمد أيها الهادي النبي. السلام عليك يا حسن بن علي أيها الزكي العسكري. السلام عليك يا صاحب الزمان. السلام عليك يا خليفة الرحمن. السلام عليك يا إمام الإنس والجان. السلام عليك يا بقية الله في أرضه وعجل الله تعالى فرجك وسهل الله مخرجك وظهورك وجعلنا من خير أعوانك وانصارك والمستشهدين بين يديك. السلام عليكم جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته. اللهم اجعل محيانا محيا محمد وآل محمد ومماتنا ممات محمد وآل محمد. اللهم ارزقنا في الدنيا زيارة محمد وآل محمد وفي الآخرة شفاعة محمد وآل محمد. For all of our loved ones who are sick, who are ill, those who have asked us for dua for the 4-month-old baby who is still in coma, for the Imam of our time, for the hastening of the return of our Imam, the Imam of our time. Let us recite Ayy Charimi Amman Yujib 5 times together. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أما يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه. أما يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف السوء. وإلى الأرواح المؤمنين والمؤمنات والمسلمين والمسلمات بالأخص المرحومين of the sponsor of the program tonight. رحم الله من يقرأ الفاتحة مع الصلوات.
Mu'minin and Mu'minat, dinner served in the back. Please help yourselves.
फराज की क्या इसी दो प्रोग्राम है कर फराज के प्रोग्राम में बता फराज प्रोग्राम करे और आपको मेरा
Maybe you are
Six songs, I'm gonna hug you otherwise like reminding me of Calvaro, man. Huh? You remember yeah, I'm waiting for Shaykh. Pick and drop. Then
okay, that's a big change. Hot sauce. Just put it in there and chase